Hello, YouTube. Welcome to Mr. Zero's Terror Ride. I am Mr. Zero, clown comic and commentator on haunted houses. So last time I talked about having a good night doing chainsaw, got recognized with a candy bar, and I also wore my gremlin contacts because I never get makeup parts, so I never get to wear my contacts. Well, then on the 6th, when I went to work, I got picked to be I was supposed to be a phase 3 zombie. That was my part for the night. And I was all going, okay. I go to get my mask. No mask. They're out of masks. I'm like, well, so what do I do? Well, get makeup done. So I'm like, yeah, I get to wear these contacts that I spent too much money on, and I go into the washroom, I guess is what you'd call it. It's a room with two very large trough sinks and a mirror all along it, and was where everyone like will put on black makeup if they're wearing masks to hide their mouths and their eyes, or they're washing off their makeup and they're putting contacts in. So I go to put my contacts in, and I can't do it. Everything I try, I'm sitting there, can't get them in. I got my left one in, and then blinked it into place, and it started burning. So I took it out, and then I put it back in the solution, let it sit there, and I tried putting, I couldn't get it in. Switched to the other one, got it in. Burned too bad, so I took it out and just called it a night. That was unfortunately. So I got makeup without contacts. So anyway, my makeup job was I was a phase 3 zombie. That is, there's three phases. Phase 1 is you're beginning to turn. Phase 2, you have started to turn. Phase 3, you're a full-on zombie. You're dead and you can't really communicate. And so I'm doing this kind of lazy walk through the crazy maze, doing that with the strobe lights and the curtains and the blood everywhere. And I decided not to do the same misdirection game that I usually do. Instead, I would stand right outside a curtain and wait for people to open it, and then I'd just stand there, stare, and I'd drool out. And the wonderful thing about working with the strobe lights is that you don't have to blink as much. So I'm just sitting there staring, and people would walk past. How creepy! And some people would actually take the time to kind of look in my eyes and wait for me to blink, and I would will myself not to blink, the hardest will I ever could. And they'd go past. Yeah, that guy's weird. That's what I heard. That guy's weird. That guy's creepy. And occasionally I would have someone jump out at me trying to scare me. And of course, that never. Do not try to scare the actors in the haunted house. Maybe you'll get them once or twice, but you rarely will, and you'll just look silly. And half the time, when you jump out and try to scare them, they'll jump right back at you, and you'll be scared, and then you'll look silly. It's happened to me so many times where I have someone jump out at me, and then I'll be like, "Yeah!" And then they're just like, "Oh yeah," they look silly, and all their friends laugh at them. So if you want to get laughed at, I guess that's a good strategy. Go ahead and try to scare the guy working that's hired. His job is to scare people. It may not be a high-paying job, but that's what he's hired for. So anyway, I was a creepy little zombie. I'd run around, I'd have delayed reactions. Some people come out and jump at me, and I'd have like a 5 second delay where I'd sit there, they'd jump at me, I'd stare at them, ah! And I'd yell and like react and then run off, and that worked very well. And yeah, it was a pretty good night. Second night, or the 7th, I should say the 7th, the other night I'm talking about. The 7th, I was chosen to do a job that I do there an awful lot, and that's parking. And it was a kind of a cold, rainy night, so it wasn't the best night to be doing parking, but what are you gonna do? So I'm sitting there, I'm wearing my sweatshirt, I put on the orange vest they gave me, and then I was late to getting prepared, so I didn't get the nice flashlights. They look kind of like lightsabers. They're about this long. They got lights all through them, and they're very lightweight. No, 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 no. I got one of those heavy mag lights with the cone on top, and it was heavy. And my routine when I'm out there is I'm like swinging the light around, kind of showing people that I'm there, that this is the entrance. And then if they're coming and making a right turn into the place, I'll point to them and let them know to get in this lane. And then I'll point to the people when it's time for them, because I can see far ahead of them. I can also see the light rail system when it's going and not, so I can tell when they're going to be able to go soon, and I can tell how long it takes for them not to be able to go. I'll tell you, let me just tell you, when I'm advising you, if you come to Nightmare and I'm out there advising you to come in, do it, because you don't know how long you might have to wait. I've had people drive off after having to wait for 2 minutes just to say, oh, it's opened up now. Now I can let like 12 people in. It happens all the time. I know how I'm in tune with that traffic system. I know how it works. By the end of the night, I know what's going to happen when. And yeah, so just follow what I do, and I'll guide you in. You see a bald guy there. Usually I'm wearing this hat, and I've got the flashlight. I'm usually wearing shorts, 17-inch shorts. They go down pretty low, almost to my ankles. And I'm out there directing traffic. And I'll probably start wearing my Mr. Zero vest because that's what I tend to wear. It keeps me very warm in cold conditions. Um, and so I was doing that for about 2 hours, and after 2 hours, they took me aside because for some reason this year they've got girls doing parking, and so they wanted one of the girls to be on point, and they took me over to this Target that's nearby that they will allow our customers to park at, and so I was basically my job was to sit there and wait for cars to come up so I could tell them to go to Target, and that was kind of cold, and it's a good time to talk to yourself, or sing to yourself or whatever you want to do. You're alone with your thoughts a lot of the time, and pretty uneventful job. There's a lot less movement, so I got cold. You see, because I know I was going to do on point, so I don't pack to be warm because I know that on point I'm going to get action and activity, so I'm going to be warm, and plus it helps pass the time. Those 2 hours passed by so slowly, and I had to wait for the cars to start to leave, and then they just came and told me, "Yeah, go on inside. These cars, we'll watch these last 5 cars." So then I went back into the haunted house, waited for the final meeting to be over so I could go home and warm up. And it took me all night to warm up. That's such a cold job. And that's that kind of cold that just goes right to your bones and you can't warm up afterwards. But it's a fun enough job. I mean, if you just like to sit around, and sometimes I do like to just sit around. It's a good job for that. And so they're sitting there, they're calling out who did rooms of the night and all this. And then I never really listened because I usually don't expect to get it. I used to, like last year, every time this guy here, he did such a good job. I'm like, is that me? Oh no, it's not me. So I stopped really listening, and all of a sudden I hear the guy with codename Maverick. He's sitting there for his candy bar. He's sitting there. Everyone did a good job, and blah blah blah. But this guy, he acts, he does parking, he does whatever he's told, and he doesn't complain. He always does a good job. I'm gonna give this candy bar out and he yells my name and throws the candy bar at me. I'm like shocked, and that was like people like actually congratulating me for this one. I've won candy bars 2 other times while working at this place. One last year, and then one for Chainsaw. Never really got congratulated. Some people said, good job, good job. This one I got congratulated for. And so it was really nice. It felt good that they recognized that I'm working and I'm trying to do a good job. I don't know if I do a good job, but I try to do a good job. I try to give it my all. And that kind of recognition just made me feel good. It was interesting because certain other workers were complaining about the politics and that, and about how it's a competition. Everyone's trying to get Nightmare Master. Cause they have like best actor, best actress, and like Nightmare Master. I think is what the name of the uh, the overall best worker over there. And it's like Yeah, I don't care. I'm not there to get a trophy. I'm there because I like working in haunted houses. I like scaring people. I like scaring women, children, and getting those big dudes to go on their knees, go no. That's what I'm there for. And I happen to work at this one because they actually do pay their actors, and they pay them well enough for me to feel comfortable being there. Because if they didn't pay me, I couldn't afford to do it. If I was rich, I'd do it for free. But if they pay me, I can afford to do it. And so that's why I'm there. Conversely, I had Saturday off for a family reunion, and our family reunion happens at Lagoon, the local amusement park. And during this time of year, they have what's called Frightmares. Now, I've worked Frightmares before, back in 2008, so it's kind of cool because when I worked there, I wasn't able to go through the other houses. And there's one house that they've had since the beginning, and these are always popular. It's the Fun House of Fear clown theme. That means black light effects. That means bright colors. That means like weird illusions and silliness. Those are always so popular in haunted houses. They're not even particularly scary. They may scare some people, but they're fun and people like them. People get a kick out of those. Rocky Point. In an interview in the Haunted House magazine, the owner of Rocky Point, she said that that's their most popular section. Is they had Psycho Circus, and they even blasted Kiss's Psycho Circus throughout that whole part, and it went along well with it. And they had a really good Psycho Circus freak show clown show thing. Our haunted house only had one clown last year and two clowns this year. And it's fun. It's just for fun, I think, lot of the time. But a lot of actors are like, oh, at least there's two this year. There was originally four plus two chainsaw clowns. They've downgraded the clowns are now zombies and the whatnot. So we're down to just two clowns now. Sad truth. I've got to hurry up and finish. But anyway, so I go to Frightmares. I was able to do the Fun House, which is a lot of fun. Able to do this other one called Deception. Good sets, but the acting is really subpar at this. I remember it being better. Gosh, I won Most Creative Actor over at Frightmares that year. And I gotta say, the actors in the kids' places, Spookaboo and the Crazy Corn or Crazy Scarecrow Maze, those actors were a lot better than the actors inside the houses. You had Deception, and some people pop out and go boo. Some are like or some, and didn't work. And the chainsaw guy wasn't even there when he was supposed to be. Um, yeah, even the clowns in the funhouse, they weren't doing that good of a job. But some were. Some would interact. You got to interact as an actor. Your job is to interact with the public. I got to hurry up and finish the story. Um, and then what other house? They had Lockdown. And I remember the actors were trying harder in that one. They really were trying hard, but it wasn't that great of a haunted house. It was very dark. I was with my wife and trying to guide her through, while at the same time I was holding my 3-year-old buddy Noah, and I was making him say hi to all the inmates. I said, "To say hi to that guy, hi, hi." And he came out scared, but he said hi to everybody to his credit. And that one was okay. And then there was the big scary one that was new this year. The other two, the Deception and Lockdown, got a 4 spider rating. Well, this is the only haunted house that they had with a 5. It was called Nightwalk. It was all about demons and stuff. And it stunk in there. They tried to make it smell like I don't know what, but it smelled terrible, made me want to throw up. The acting, like again, you got people trying to get in your face. And one of the things I can tell any actor, when you get this close to a person, you've got nothing left to do. Don't get that close to a person unless you're BAM! Get this far away and stare, and then when they say something, boom, get in their face. Don't wait. Up, I'm out of time. But it sucked, and tra la la. Nightmare rules.